All right, Mayor Bill, why don't you give us a quick introduction, who you are, and what you're all about?
All right, so I am Bill Edwards. I'm the mayor of Centerton. I've lived in the community since 2001 and been serving since 2005. The community as a council member and also on my 15th year as the mayor of Centerton, which is one of the fastest growing cities actually in the whole United States. We've learned here with recent census estimates that we are the 31st fastest growing city of population over 20,000 in the whole U.S. So a lot going on. And that's just not us. This whole area up here in Northwest Arkansas is growing rapidly. So
What do you attribute that growth to?
I think a lot of it is just affordability, the nice area. This whole area up here is beautiful, beautiful area. Plus, lots of opportunities for employment up here. We have there are several major companies here in this area, Fortune 500 companies that employ a lot of good folks and offer a lot of good careers.
Right. Now, I understand before you were mayor, you had a career at one of these companies. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I did prior to becoming mayor. I was with JB Hunt Transport for 22 years, and actually they relocated me here. I worked for them from 1988 to 2011 when I became mayor. So was there quite a while. Started my career for the first 15 years as a fleet manager. Then the last 7 years I worked in the safety department.
And where did they transfer you from?
I came here from Oklahoma City.
Okay. Now, I understand when you lived in Oklahoma City prior to working in the corporate world, you were a police officer. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did that for about 7.5 years total with Oklahoma City and also with the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office as a reserve deputy. After I went to work for JB Hunt, I wanted to kind of keep a hand in it, thinking I might go back to law enforcement, but I did not.
So what was your original interest in law enforcement?
Well, I got out of the service at Fort Sill and went to work for a small police department there in Oklahoma, and just took an interest in it and enjoyed it, and like helping people, and just it was good, just because I like to interact with people.
So did your military service motivate you to join the police?
No, not really, because when I was in the military, I was actually in field artillery. When I was full time, because I served 4 years active Army. I served 3 years in Germany, and then a year in, back at Fort Sill, where I took my initial training, and then when I worked in Oklahoma City, I went into the National Guard. I see a lot of our officers were, you see come the armory and you see them all there. I said, well, let me get part of that too, and I served another 5 years in the Oklahoma National Guard.
Oh, nice. Okay. Now, the time that you spent in as a police officer, what kind of influence did that have on you as you considered running for mayor?
Well, I mean, I have an understanding of how police departments work. I don't have a desire to go back to it anymore. But I do one of my duties is I oversee it. However, in the municipality, I'm very blessed to have very talented department heads working for me. So I just let them do their jobs. If something happens, then they certainly want to contact me, but I don't interfere with their operations. They're the experts. I let them do their jobs.
Right. Yeah, so it's interesting to when talking to public servants is to uncover why they do what they do, because you're opening yourself up to scrutiny to a lot of people. And so I think that drive to become involved has to be really strong to overcome some of that.
Oh yeah, you got to be thick-skinned. And one thing that got me interested in the local politics is when I first moved to Centerton, I used to attend the city council meetings. I just like to know what was going on in the community I lived in. I attended for about 2 years before I decided to run for mayor. The incumbent who was in office, she told me she was not going to run again. She's moving out of the area. So I said, I ran and just wanted to make a difference. And when I decided, then I took a break. But when I decided to run for mayor, we had a great mayor before me. Bobby was a very good mayor, well liked, and I just thought, let me throw my name in the hat, give people a choice, and see if I can make a difference. And I didn't expect to win the election, but one thing I did do is I like talking to people. I went door to door, knocking on doors because I'm an unknown person, and they didn't know. They didn't know Bill from anybody. So here I did, made a lot of good contacts, and here I am.
Yeah, that is one thing I've noticed is you're not scared to talk to people.
Oh no, no, and I like to solve problems. I mean, we are a growing community, and part of my job is the day to day operations. I oversee things, and I mean, I constantly are, is addressing citizens' concerns and taking care of their issues as they arise, and just proud to do it.
So, as you first started in your role as mayor till now, I guess did it first meet your expectation as far as what it entailed? And then how has it changed since you first started? I mean, we're 15 years into it. I imagine it looks a little different now.
Yeah, it was actually a transition. So I served on the city council and thinking I knew everything. I thought, well, I'm ready just to step in the chair, if I win, and that's not the case. I sat in the chair and I was completely lost. I come in and here's people wanting to spend money. I said, whoa, 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 let's talk. But we all learn together. I mean, now there is an organization called the Arkansas Municipal League, and that was the first place I went to because they will certainly teach you your duties and help you out, and it's great for elected officials to municipal elected officials to do this. So it was a great resource, and it's a learning curve. I mean, I'm 15 years into it. I'm still learning new things every day. And, one thing I recommend other cities is, make sure you have a good assistant. I was trying to do everything on my own,
Mhm.
and I have. I mean, I try to take on a lot, and, I answer all my own emails, which I still do, all my own phone calls, but I have a assistant that I can pass things off to and, take some things off my plate. And she has been a very good asset to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I imagine you get inundated. I follow you on Facebook, and I see all the messages you get on Facebook, and so I imagine email and phone calls. It's even more.
Facebook is great for me anyway. I like using it because one thing the Centerton does not have is we don't have a local newspaper there. We rely on the paper that takes care of the larger cities, and that's okay. That's how it works. So this is a great resource that doesn't cost anybody anything to communicate with the citizens, put information out, and you said you follow me on Facebook, so bad weather comes along, events, delays in services, power outages, all that stuff. I work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, make sure our community's informed and safe.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do get all those updates, and I do appreciate those too. So they're
I actually go to conferences and I have people say, "Bill, I look at your Facebook updates for weather updates." So, we yeah, I hear that all the time. So, and again, I'm just doing it just to make sure I communicate with them, because I want, if I post something on there like farmer's market, today, for instance, if somebody wants to sign up, post a comment because somebody else probably has the same question. Don't let's post things. I'm not going to argue with folks online because but I will put out information for them and answer their questions.
so what are some of the challenges that the city is currently facing?
Well, some of the challenges we really have is just finances. Our budget for a city our size is actually pretty small. Right now, I think the latest census come out said the estimate for 2024 was 25,742, which in 2020 was only 17,000. So we're almost 10,000 more, in just that short period of time. But we need more commercial things to help increase them sales tax dollars. And we do have, you've probably seen on my Facebook over the weekend that Walmart Supercenter is getting ready to submit plans to us, and we're working with them to do some road designs right there at Sienna Drive and add a traffic light and different things. So, because one thing, I do hear a lot of is, hey, we need more restaurants. We need more of this. And, as the city is growing, we are starting to see some of them things happen. I remember when I first took office, all we had is a flashing light and and a restaurant, one small, a couple of restaurants. So now I mean, people have a lot of choices, and we're still growing. The other thing I see a lot of issues we deal with, and I hear this a lot, is infrastructure. A lot of the roads through Centerton are actually state highways. I think you've lived there long enough where like 102 was a 2-lane at one point, And then shortly in like 2011, 2012, the highway department come and they widened it to 5 lanes, and they're getting ready to, go a little bit further down the road with it. So
How far are they going?
Highway 279 South,
Okay, so that's the first one, not the second one.
the first one,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, to the one going south, which takes you to the airport. And then, we have Main Street, which is in desperate need of widening, and it's a state highway. But I mean, as far as like, we do lack sidewalks. At one point, our city didn't require sidewalks. When subdivisions come in, they weren't required to do them. Now they are. And we have a lot of sidewalks in the community. And actually, I've applied for grants and received over $1 million in grants now to help make some of those connections. Because we have some gaps in it, and we're trying to fill them in. And we're not the only city it's like that. A lot of cities don't have a lot of sidewalks. But we're working just to make our quality of life better, make us more of maybe a 15-minute walkable city at some point in time.
So as far as development is concerned in restaurants and commercial, is that something that we just kind of wait for it to come, or are there things that you can do as a mayor to bring commercial business to Centerton?
Some things I've done in the past and I still do it once in a while, is when I first took office for several years, I'd write letters to some of these folks, say, "Hey, here's Centerton. Let me tell you about us." Because I had one person come out here from Rib Crib. He flew here from Minnesota based on a letter I wrote him. And he said there's these economic indicators out there, and he didn't see any of the things I was telling him. Of course, we're small. And he said, "I like what I see, because everywhere I drive, they're building, and, because the commercial things, they want rooftops. And when the rooftops comes, the commercial follows. And like I said, we've come a long way, and hopefully we still just get more and more as it grows. But
So you're actively going out, you're sending letters, making calls, you're pursuing businesses to come to Centerton.
yeah, and I don't want to, like, I'm always looking for folks. I come to events in different cities and just tell them about us. And I'm not looking for them to relocate, but if you're looking for the second location or things, here we are. We're right here for you. Also, a group of business owners has just started probably within the last year and a half, 2 years, the Centerton Area Chamber of Commerce. That's new. And actually, Nicole is our city representative on there, my assistant. She's part of that. And, also we have another member, and she's now an employee with them, and they're just getting after it, trying to get more businesses in here, and, also take care of the businesses we have, because you can bring them in, but you also gotta, you gotta take care of them. And, a couple things I do a lot of, and so does the chamber, is I help promote our small businesses. We want to get them out there. I think we've done that with your business when you first came in too. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I remember doing that. So
Yeah, and we definitely appreciate that. So it sounds like there's a lot of growth happening with the Walmart, the widening of Main Street.
we're
Any
widening
other
of Highway 102, not Main Street. Main Street's not on any agenda, but
the Highway
102
102?
is, yes.
Okay, yes, you're right. Yep, sorry.
Sorry, I didn't want to get no false hopes up.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, now I will tell you, on Main Street, we've wrote a letter to RDOT and, to the director, and the former director. She actually called us back, had a conference call with us, or Zoom call with the staff. And because we told them, if you will come in and widen the road to 3 lane, just make 3 lanes out of it, because you're not going to get 5 down Main Street. Put 5-foot sidewalks on both sides. The city would, with city council approval, would entertain the idea of taking the road over, because, RDOT is trying to, give some roads away. The way it is right now, we don't want it. It's got a bad base under it, and, they're constantly repairing potholes. They do have a new director. I'm going to take another stab at it. Also, we have a new, the head of the Highway Commission lives here in this area, so maybe I can get a little influence with them. And also, I do have a state legislator, Mindy McAlinden. She's offered to help us out too. So, and also we have Nick Burks. We'll get him involved and see if we can't get something happening. And if it happens, it happens. If not, my main goal is a lot of projects on the state highways is on a plan. They have like I think the 2026 to 2028 plans out. Now, if you get on that list, get a job number, then you're good. So hopefully we'll at least get that project program in somewhere along the line.
Now, I know we are also looking at doing a community center. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we are. We're actually we just had a meeting just a little while ago. So the voters a couple years ago approved a sales tax extension to allow us to do that because one thing that Centerton does lack is amenities. But over the last 15 years, we've added parks, ADA compliant parks. We've added splash pads, pavilions. Uh, we're getting ready to remodel a building. We can come talk about that in a minute. But to the community center, we are building about a 37,000 square foot building on city owned property that we bought at auction back in 2016.
And plans are
Yeah,
finalized on
we
that?
already have plans submitted for the site. We do have designs of the building, which if anybody wants to look at our schematic designs, they are on our city website, which is www.centertonar.us.
Beautiful.
And come look at that. We've already had public input, so we're moving forward with the project, and we're excited. But we own 20 acres. We've master planned the whole site because realistically, we're not going to be able to fill it all in with the money we have. We'll have enough to build the building. Like I said, it's about 37,000 square feet, and we'll go from there. This thing will have a pool in it, which will have a couple lanes. It'll have a kids area with, water splashing down on you with a zero entry. It'll have a lazy river in it for the community. It'll have locker rooms. It'll have cabanas, which are family locker rooms. It's going to have a basketball court, which can be also used as pickleball courts. For indoors. It'll have a track upstairs on the second floor with a fitness area. It'll have a nice community room for rent, plus also some party rooms. Because we seem to, as me and several others toured some other facilities, for birthday parties, they like those party rooms, and they're right there at the pool. The kids love it. So that'll be our initial plan, and we'll put landscaping in. We're going to do road improvements in front of Keller Road, add some more sidewalk. But also on our master plan, currently I'm going to be putting in for a grant to have an outdoor pickleball court. That's on our master plan. Also, I'm working with another group, see if we can get some funding for an outdoor pool. But the site is master plan, so as funds become available, or if somebody wants to, sponsor something, we're open to that idea.
So this idea of growing, I mean, we've talked about how the city's grown and bringing in parks and development and whatnot. It builds this sense of community. And what does that idea or that concept of community mean to you?
Well, we just want to have a nice, safe place, because everybody deserves to have a nice place to live. With our current staff and our police and EMS, we're a very safe place. We've been named, I think the latest numbers is the seventh safest city in all of Arkansas out of 500 cities. That's big. But we just want everybody just to, feel at home. We try to keep the small town feel here. I know we're growing, but we try to keep that small town feel, with farmers markets and, Center Day coming up on September 13th and fishing derbies and, community 4th of July events and movie in the park and thing. Just try to keep it small. Plus also have, nice places for folks to gather, our parks. And one thing I talked to you about is we have the old city hall downtown. I think you've been there before. And we're actually doing work on that building right now. We just remodeled the community room in the back because we do rent it out for the community. Anybody wants to use it for a small fee. We just put some new flooring in it, painted it, getting ready to put some new lighting, different things. Also, we put a new roof on the building because it's like older than me. No, it's an old roof. So we're doing that. And then we're going to go inside and remodel the inside too. We're working with an architect and we want to have a small sharing library inside, plus also have some sitting areas for folks that want us to come in, have access to computers, things. We'll be putting hopefully a coffee shop in it. We already have a tenant who's interested in it, but we haven't finalized everything yet. So, we just want more spaces and more things, but we want you to feel at home too. Keep that small town feel.
So what's a sharing library?
So people can bring books and they'll put them up there and they can just take and, we have these little sharing libraries all over the city.
A little book swap.
Yeah, a little book swap, basically. I mean, I don't want to have a full-time librarian in there, because, folks in our community do have access to the Bentonville Library and, it's open to them and it's a, very nice library. We actually talked about maybe having an extension of that, but, uh, and we still might have that conversation. We don't know yet, but if not, I think the sharing library is great. People can come in, just have a gathering space too. Get out of your house, come in. Also, we have a very active senior group that meets in the community center a couple times a week, and that's good for them to get out of the house and come together. Actually, one of our council members kind of spearheads that whole project. So,
So so you've kinda discussed what community means to you. Is there a vision or a future that you see in your mind for Centerton, or have we already kind of achieved the vision that you've set out to achieve?
a lot of things I did when I ran for office is I like to set goals. Increase our police, fire, make all this stuff full time. And at a point, if I run for reelection again, I'll set up another set of goals and because we need something to obtain. But also, our community is going through a community branding period right now, which we're doing. Actually, this Thursday, I don't think this will air by then, but because we need identity. We really don't have an identity. I know at one point we were the Apple capital of the world and things, and maybe we need to reemphasize that. What's Centerton known for? So we are asking a group of citizens to come. It's public, anybody can come and let's hear and brainstorm. And, because one thing I like to do is, I hold events like Coffee with the Mayor. I want to hear from the community. This is not my community, this is your community. Just like community center, we went out and seeked public input on this thing. I mean, I have a way I want to do it, but maybe let's hear what you want. And I think we've taken all those ideas and, was able to move forward with that.
So you've mentioned, safety, families, parks, being together, as to build that sense of community. Did you grow up in a community like that? And is that what kind of motivates you now?
So I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but later in my teenage years, I moved to a community called Riverside, New Jersey. And it is a small community. It had, but, and they had community events, they had parades and different things and events. And that's what I try to do here with Centerton. And we also hope other people will come out and they have events. We'll help, participate or share them too. So, yeah, there was parades and different things, in that community as I was growing up.
Gotcha.
It
And
was a
so
small
that
town.
right. So that idea of the small town, it's stuck with you. I mean, if people came to you in the community and said, "Hey, our identity, we want to be something other than a small town," what would your response be?
Well, I'd like to hear what they have to say. I don't, without more information, it's just really hard to judge that. I think after tomorrow's meeting, I think we'll have a better sense of direction. Another thing I failed to mention too is, one thing Centerton does not have is we really don't have a defined downtown. We have a little bit of a like a one block area, and that's basically it. And this is long before probably any of us ever came here. The forefathers before us. So we applied for a grant to do a downtown study, and we want to have a couple different areas in town. We'll call this area where we're at now Old Town, and we want to have the new town. And we have a lot of land that's vacant right now. From the McDonald's south and over toward the fish hatchery and things. And maybe we can incorporate this into a new downtown area, because a lot of folks do like downtowns. They like to walk to different things, come to the small shop here or go to the tap room or to the bar or whatever's down there, or the nice little walk-in restaurant or the donuts, whatever we have. And we want to take this opportunity before I land, and plan this, like, when you were on the planning commission, you look at our comprehensive plans and things and, to see if we can maybe make that part of our identity we're doing too. So,
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the towns around us, Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers, Bentonville, they've all got a downtown.
Yeah, and then
A
as
and
I
they're kinda, resurging downtown too.
yeah, yeah, and as I travel, I mean, I see some places that, have abandoned downtowns too, and I'm thinking, maybe I think different, but I'm thinking, "Yeah, this has some potential here." And another city to the south of us, I mean, they're starting to revitalize their downtown, and that's Cave Springs. I mean, for a while, there was nothing there except, one or 2 shops, and now they look like they're trying to revitalize that and do some good things down there too.
Yeah, they got they just built the, fire station there, and
Yep,
actually, I just drove by there 2 days ago, and I saw kinda on, 112 there, it looks like they're building one of those old buildings.
yep.
Looks like they're rebuilding.
Yeah, they're rebuilding, put a doctor's office in down there and a couple different things, and, so look like, and we got a lot of investors in this area. Not only invest in land, but hopefully when we get this downtown plan, they want to invest in the downtown and invest in the community too.
Yeah. What have been some of the hard decisions as a mayor? Because again, you're not gonna make everybody happy all the time, and there's gonna be decisions that you make that they're gonna make people mad, and it's hard to avoid that. What have been some of those hard decisions that you've had to make?
Well, I probably have to think about that a little bit, but, seems like everything, pretty well that I do, I always involve our city council.
And do you think that's just the nature of the citizens of the community? Is it that you've got really good people working for you? Is it all of the above?
Yeah, it's that. Plus, also, I like to solve problems. I don't like to create problems. So if you come to me with an issue, let's talk through it, work through it. I want to hear your ideas. If we need to change laws or anything, come see me. Let's talk through it. See if it makes sense first.
What is the best way for people to contact you if they've got idea?
No, so if they want to contact me, they can contact me through email. Uh, they can contact me through Facebook Messenger. They can call me. Any of those means are fine, and they know how to get a hold of me.
Yeah. Find you on Facebook. We'll put your email address in the show notes too,
Yeah,
so
sure.
people that
Yeah.
are hearing this can
Yes. Yeah, put
can,
that in
uh
there, and then, my office phone number is, 479-795-2750, extension 101. Put that in there too.
yeah, we'll make a note of that. So, when is your term up as mayor?
Uh, 80 years. No, just kidding you. So my term is up, December of next year.
December of 26. And then have you decided if you're gonna run again? When do you need to make that decision?
So we don't have for municipal offices, we don't have to even start filing until July of next year. Honestly, I'm not really focused on the election right now. My main thing is to let's take care of some things we're trying to do. The Walmart, the community center, more grant money, a signal light at Womack. Just that's more of a priority to me than the election. The election, I mean, when that time comes, then I'll announce that decision when that time comes around.
Yeah. So I know, a couple years ago, you had a little bit of a health scare. I see you at the gym now, working out all the time. Um, Tell us a little bit about, your health, how you're feeling, kinda what that scare was all about.
Yeah, so I went to the doctor and had a stress test, and we found out I had 5 blockages. uh, and they were, I think 3 of them were 100% and 2 were 90 on my heart. I had open heart surgery, had a quadruple bypass,
And when was this?
July of 23, actually July 21st of 23. So, uh, after I could start walking again, because I had a little pain in my leg from where they took the little graft and things out. They put me through cardiac rehab, and I actually kinda liked it. I was having a good time just exercising because that's one thing I really didn't do a lot of. So I started exercising, then I joined Planet Fitness when I was done with that, and, I go to the gym every day, or exercise every day. I don't make the gym every day, but my goal is 15,000 steps a day. I usually exceed that every day, because I believe, honestly, I've been given a second chance in life, because, with 5 blockages, I was probably very close to dying. So I'm glad to be here and very happy, and, I'm just thankful every day I wake up and, just live another day and serve our great community.
So how's your energy level now? I mean, that's a pretty, invasive procedure, it seems like.
They can't keep up with me. I mean, I just and I do work around the clock. I mean, you see it. So, but I feel good. And now, I don't watch what I eat. I mean, I eat anything I want. Uh, they did tell me the doctor said, "Watch your sodium or your salt." So I do that. But you know what? I mean, I think with all the time I spend in the gym and walking and all that, I think whatever's happening, I'm burning it off because I go to the doctor every 6 months, have tests, and all the tests are coming out good. So
So, so you have a health scare like that, you recover and you go back to work. I'd imagine you probably don't have to. Why, why keep working? Why not take time off and just do your own thing? Why do you keep at it?
well, yeah, I love our community. I've lived in this community since 2001. I feel like I have a vested interest in it. With the time I served the citizens on the city council and then the Parks Recreation Commission, and then also as mayor. And I just love the job. I love promoting our place. I love seeing the people, meeting them, happy or angry. It's just fun to do, just to serve the community.
All right. Wanted to know if there's something that an accomplishment in the city that you're especially proud of, something that you've seen change or
So a couple things. Some of the goals I worked on is first of all having a full time fire department there. We had a great fire department with 45 volunteers. And they're good and they work great. But one of my goals was to transition to a full time fire department. We did it slowly. Every year we added a few more. Now I'm proud we have a full time fire department. Our fire chief has done a great job of getting our ISO rating to ISO 2, which is great for a city our size. We have
and
D.
what does that mean, the ISO?
That's an insurance rating.
Okay.
You know, uh,
Based off of what response
yeah,
times?
response times, water, and all this kind of things. Equipment, full or part time. When I first took office, we were ISO 6. But, he has big goals of actually being ISO 1, so, hopefully he gets there. We have decent equipment for all our departments. I kid around with my old public works director, and he says, "All we had is a grease gun," and he's right. All they had is a grease gun and some old broken down trucks. Now we got we have good equipment for all the departments, good police cars, fire equipment. We wanna just be able to serve our citizens to get there. So, I'm proud that we did that. We've done a lot of work on roads. I mean, we've added new roads, we've paved roads. The city or, usually myself or others, we're always applying for grants because, like I said at the beginning, we have a small budget. So if we can maximize those dollars, that's what we're gonna do. And, I believe we probably got 12, 13, $14 million worth of grants over here the last few years, and most of that is 80% funding, and we have to match 20, but that'll sure stretch those budget dollars out.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of that. I mean, we do. I'm proud of the Bentonville West High School out there. Because I remember when I was campaigning for that thing, it was not coming to Centerton in the beginning. They had 2 pieces of property they were looking at, and I worked with the school board, went to all these information meetings, provided information, and at the end of the day, it's out there. It's the 5th largest high school in the whole state, and it's actually they're working on expanded. They've expanded it once, they're doing it again. Yeah, nice. I like coming to our own football stadium and have watch football here instead of going somewhere else. So glad to have that, and also Grimsley Junior High's out there now, so that's a good accomplishment. That we're growing. We are proud of the growth. I mean, we have growing pains just like everybody else, but overall, I think we got a lot of great things happening.
Perfect. So I guess a couple other questions before we wrap it up. Who's somebody in your life that has really inspired you personally and somebody that you look up to?
As far as my professional, as mayor, we did have an ex-council member, his name was Keith Higginbotham, and, when I first took office, I used to bounce because he was on the council for 33 years. He was there a long time when I even took I served with him on the council, but, I wanna bring things forward. I said, "Hey, what do you think, Keith?" And he'd been a great mentor as far as I mean, he's never been the mayor, but, he had a lot of time in the community, a lot of wealth of information, and, and then personally, I just I like playing steel guitar, so I got some, a lot of different influences, musicians I like, probably too numerous to name, but
Nice. All right. Well, Mayor Bill, appreciate your time. Is there anything else that maybe you want to mention that you haven't had the chance to yet?
No, I don't think so. I think, if anybody ever has any concerns, feel free to call me. My door is always open. I'm a very accessible mayor, and there's a lot of places you probably can't get directly to the mayor, but you can get to me, and, I'll be happy to list your concerns and help you in any way I can.
Perfect. Well, we will list your contact information in the show notes if anybody decides that they want to contact you that way. But yeah, like you said, I know you're on Facebook, and you probably just show up at your office and knock on the door. And if you're there, I'd imagine you'd talk to somebody. But
Somebody wants to come by, I'd always ask, call me first, and we'll make a time to come see me. Yes.
perfect, awesome. All right, Mayor. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.